All right, Byrna Nation, still day 4 here at SHOT Show. We're in the Byrna booth, and I've been able to catch up with Willy Iglesia and rip him away from all the meetings he's had out here. Willy is officially now the new CEO of Byrna Latin America, or Byrna LATAM. So congratulations,
Thank you very much,
Willy.
George.
So give Byrna Nation a little bit of your background and kind of how you got involved with Byrna.
Okay, so I've been involved with law enforcement and government work for over 25 years. Before I retired, I was lucky enough to be in charge of special operations for one of our 4 law enforcement agencies. So I have a lot of experience working with this kind of material, and actually many years ago, we had a lack of information in countries like Argentina, where I come from. And together with another 2 partners, we ended up writing a book related to less lethal technologies. And in that book, many years ago, we heard about a product called Byrna that was just amazing, because we saw something that looked like a pistol. It had a regular magazine. You know, the muscle memory looked great for us, and I was very curious about it. But when we wrote about that in the book was many years ago, and we didn't even have the chance of testing one.
Sure.
So after many years, we actually met through Bursa, because Bursa had the opportunity of being the representative for Argentina, and also bringing Byrna to Latin America. So the first time that the brand arrived, we got together, we started talking, we shared lots of information and ideas, and since we spoke the same language, we became, very close, and we ended up working together.
That's fantastic. So I don't think that Byrna Nation really knows, how big Byrna's impact has been in South America, Central America in the last few years. But you guys have been sweeping the continent down there, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. There's in most of Latin America, there's a need for our product, because there's very outdated tools that have a very short range. They are effective in certain situations, but very ineffective in most situations, because the kind of crime and situations that law enforcement is facing in Latin America is very different than what you see here in the US or Europe, Asia. We have different scenarios.
Sure.
And in many cases, you can see it coming. You have a pretty good distance, but you don't have a tool for that. And many other things have been tested. But once law enforcement started having the first contact with stuff like the SDs, the TCR, the Mission Force, even the MLRs, the first surprise was how far you can go, how many things you can do with direct and indirect. Indirect created a whole new world and a concept that wasn't there. It was like a brand new way of implementing a law enforcement tool. So that spread the word real quick. We are very strong in Argentina. We have a whole state that decided that each and every officer has to carry one of our products.
And when you say a whole state, I mean,
Yes.
we're talking how many officers here?
Right now, there's 5,000 officers that carry Byrna's SDs in the state of Córdoba. And by the end of the year, and these are not my words, you can look online, the governor of the state of Córdoba, who has been recently elected, he said publicly that by the end of the year, 16,000 officers, that is, the totality of the officers will carry a less lethal tool, and that's going to be a Byrna SD, and the Mission Force are used by special units like riot units and special forces. And the most important thing is, when we went there a long time ago to the first trainings and testings and demos, we just talk about it, but they got involved at a government level. It is a state decision to implement a tool. And just to go back a little bit in time, years ago, I was lucky enough to be in charge of training in law enforcement agencies for the officers in the use of force continuum, right? We always work with theory. So we teach something that looked amazing in a PowerPoint file. We had beautiful presentations talking about the tools you were going to use, but we never had the tools in a country like Argentina. And that happens all over Latin America. And the very limited tools were very short range. And usually, we don't have one aggressor when you deal with law enforcement. And in Latin America, usually you get a minimum of 5 people attacking an officer or a person. So you need multiple rounds, you need to create a distance, you need cover. So all that is what created the need for a real tool. And especially the muscle memory. When we started doing the first trainings, even when you came there and you did the first presentation and training for law enforcement agencies, what they were all talking in the background after you left is like, this is so easy to use, right? We don't need to do a crazy certification that takes forever. We don't need a weird license. We just get the right training, we get certified, and we start using this next Monday. And that did happen.
Wow.
When you go now to the state of Cordoba in Argentina, it is shocking that you will see each and every first responder with the orange SD
That's fantastic.
sticking
That's
to
so
their
amazing.
vest.
And you guys spent just recently quite a bit of time down in Brazil, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. In Brazil, we spent time in the cities of Porto Alegre, that's in the south, São Paulo, in Rio de Janeiro. We have already been working, doing demos and training with the military police, with the civil police, which is investigations, pretty much like the FBI here. So we work with some of the prisons there in São Paulo. They are very interested in the MLRs and systems that are designed for that kind of work, of course, the full auto, the chemicals, the chemical rounds. And then we started working very strongly with the municipal guards, which are massive in Brazil, and they have the need for our tool. The acceptation in Brazil has been absolutely amazing. I was expecting more reactions, pretty much to be maybe a percentage of the officers who would say, okay, this is a good tool, but we got these other options. But again, distance, to being able to fire a launcher from behind cover, and the accuracy. That was absolutely amazing, and they started loving the product. That's why we're going there almost every month. I mean, we have been traveling. We had a lot of support, of course, from the US, from your law enforcement division, because we need to be there pretty much all the time. So in Brazil, there is an outdated tool also. They don't have tools for the distance, the range, and the multiple targets that we can acquire. So I think we're gonna have lots of news from that region.
Now that's awesome. Now, coming 2024, where do you guys see more visits going to in South America? Where are you guys kind of trying to push into in Latin America?
Actually, we've been working in many other countries. I just name a few. We presented in Uruguay. We presented in other countries that they already have our launchers, like Chile. We're going to be visiting Peru, Colombia. We're going to be in Brazil a lot of the time. We had a lot of people asking from Paraguay, from Bolivia, because law enforcement can see what's going on right now. They can see that when the state decides, like in a place like Cordoba, they decide that they're going to implement a less lethal tool, they're saving lives. They are preserving the legality of what they're doing, which is super important for the institution. They're preserving the officer's life. So at the end of the day, justice will decide what they will do, right, with the aggressor, with whatever they need to prosecute after that. But at the end of the day, they're all alive. I'm going to give you one number that is very recent, Josh, that's super important for us. We've been there 2 weeks ago in the state of Cordoba. We had a presentation with the governor of this state, and he gave us the statistics. He said these are the hard numbers on what's going on with Byrna. They had in 2 months over 500 interventions where they used Byrna.
In 2 months?
2 months.
Oh my gosh.
Over 500, yes. There's a lot of things going on in that region. Not even one ended up with an injury or someone that lost their lives.
Wow.
All officers are back home and doing what they have to do. Everything has been reported. The justice system loves us because we had calls from judges, prosecutors, from legislators asking us, what is this thing? Because again, we're introducing a whole new concept to a region that was very updated. It needs to be updated, sorry. So it is unbelievable. 500 interventions, not even one single bad news.
That's so profound, but really an illustration of what we're trying to do here.
Exactly.
Just a very visceral, very, very acute illustration. So you were doing some amazing work down there, Willy, already, and I'm so excited to see where Byrna LATAM goes in 2024. So Byrna Nation, thanks for Willy. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
Byrna Nation. We got one more day of SHOT Show left. We'll be catching up with the guys from the law enforcement division here in the U.S. tomorrow. So make sure you stay tuned for more action from SHOT Show.